Hey everybody. Hey everybody's teaming on. I just want to make a quick video talking about why the hell am I even making these videos. I'm a super busy person. I got a lot of other stuff going on. But this is a very interesting topic to me. I actually work in the entertainment business. I'm not going to get too specific about what or where. What do I do there? But suffice to say that I have a lot of interaction with, also all sort of levels and types of entertainment, um, in Hollywood and around. So I'm sort of familiar, at least with how these shows are put together. I haven't personally known any of the writers, so that's why I'm going to speculate a lot about source material and sort of the themes that are brought up. But as far as putting television shows together, I'm pretty familiar with that. And that's why I'm changing my voice and blurring my face because I might actually be commenting on shows or videos where I know the people involved in the production or in some way, and I just the stuff that I'm thinking about talking about, I really don't want that connected to my actual person. If obviously if the NSA, the CIA, here's my cell phone. Hey, NSA, like I'm making these videos. They're obviously gonna find if somebody really wants to find me, they can find me. But at least this will sort of protect my identity in the shorter term, and just let me let me be a little freer in speaking my mind. So that's one aspect, definitely involved in the production side, post production and production side of television. But I am also just a massive fan. I watched a lot of TV when I was a kid, and then I cut it off. I cut it off cold turkey and didn't watch TV. Um, for most of the time as I was growing up, and I came to it later in life when I was sort of going through a tough time, and it was really a huge comfort for me. Um, these shows, especially when it's a really good show and you find something you could binge all the way through, you really really connect to the characters and what they're going through. Um, and there's just been some amazing content out there, especially in the last couple of years. Some really really talented people making television, coming up with compelling storylines that really just sort of bond you at the hip to these characters. Um, and so I really am sort of torn because I see all the beauty, the art, the hard work that people put into it. And if I'm being honest, from my perspective, most of the people that are involved in production of film and TV have no idea about as any sort of greater, larger agenda, or whether they're trying to brainwash everybody or anything. Really, just everybody's sort of jockeying for their position in the industry, and they just want to get more work because it's really is so highly coveted just to be working on a job on a show. Um, that most people would do anything just to get on that show, and they don't really care if it's being used to brainwash the masses or push some kind of crazy agenda. Um, because even when you're working on it, you won't really even notice these things or be doing them on purpose because it is the production cycle is so segmented that you're only really working on your little part. You're going to send it off to the next team. Um, I guess you will, depending on where you're working in the production, you will see the whole video, but it won't be fully clear what's going on. And that's just really not your concern. Your concern at the time is your area that you're trying to polish up, whether it be the effects or the music or the sound or whatever. You're just worried about your aspects, so you're not thinking about it. So that's the point I want to make. I want to throw everybody under the bus, and I honestly don't think that this is some super mega concerted organized effort where everybody on the production team knows the message that they're trying to push and sort of the hidden symbols and meanings behind each and every episode. That's really not the case. But it doesn't need to be the case. You really only need a handful of people working at the top and honestly just the network, because the network can dive in at any given moment and say change this, change that, because no reason, you're just going to change it. And all of the artists or people working on the show are just so grateful to have the show that they're not going to cross the network. You never cross the network because they will just fire you. They'll find somebody else. Seen that happen too. So you really you don't want to step out of your lane, so it's basically whatever they're deciding. So, and I've seen stuff come down where it's like, the show's finished, but then the network comes in, it's like, no, we need this and this, and it's sort of like sometimes, okay, yeah, that makes sense, I get that, but other times it's like, what? That seems like a really bad choice or a random decision. um Unless you really look at it from the bigger picture, and then oftentimes it does make sense. Yeah, no, we needed that character to say that, to drive that home. um and again, a lot of this you could just say it's hearsay. A lot of the stuff that I think I'll bring up is you could just be like, that's just a coincidence, that just is in here or that's in there. um but for someone, that has worked in TV but also has watched, I can't even count at this point, thousands of episodes, literally thousands of episodes. And it started off with just a passion, uh, out of true love, because I honestly do love TV and sort of the narratives that it can weave together. But the more TV I watch, especially the network stuff, you really start to realize the agenda. You start to see patterns and symbols repeating over and over and over again. And really, I mean, some of you out there, you probably watched also thousands of episodes, especially if you like, you know, uh, CIA kind of government. So anytime there's like a government agency involved, that's going to have a whole nother spin. We should probably talk about that some other point. But I'm basically at this point pretty convinced that the symbols are there, that they're on purpose, and that they're in everything, and that they have been in everything for a long time. Because we can go back and look at older TV shows and movies, and you'll see the same symbols, you see the same themes repeating over and over again. And I mean, my hypothesis is, if this is forced or not, basically here, in America and across the world, you want to have your choice. You can't force people to watch entertainment. That's it's entertainment. You're making your own personal choice about what you want to watch from the choices that are given to you. But if all the choices that are given to you have been pumped full of this messaging, it doesn't matter to them what you watch, because everything that you watch they're gonna get you. They're gonna get the message out to you. No matter, if you're a little kid and you're just watching the old SpongeBob or whatever, that's the thing. Nothing is untouched when it comes to the pervasiveness of these symbols. Goes all through kid stuff. It goes all through the adult stuff. Doesn't really matter. And that's why I'll just continue to pull out random episodes. I like to do the ones that are coming currently, because you can see, that messaging is actually current to the people. But it's actually can be a little easier to look into the past and look at older shows, because as we know, marketing tends to sort of break down in usefulness over time because the cultures are changing. So, if we look at older TV shows, especially from the early 2000s, it becomes a little more blatant about the messaging. Um, but that's sort of the main thing that I want to talk about here. This just let's bring up some of these symbols, talk about them, and I'd love to hear whatever you guys want to think in the comments, because I really think that we should start a discussion about this kind of thing. There's a lot of people in the truth community that analyze real events, that analyze, news, Trump, whatever, that kind of stuff. But I honestly haven't been able to find a lot of, sort of truth seeking outlets that look at current right now network television and analyze it for the symbolism. There's a lot of other channels that look at, movies in general and other kind of TV shows, but nothing that's the thing about TV. They are cranking out so much content, and the only way it's really going to work on you is if you're completely relaxed and it's an unconscious effort. If you really start to look at it critically and analyze some of this stuff, the messaging isn't as effective, because you realize they're psychologically manipulating you, and then you've sort of broken the spell at that point. But again, everybody's got their soft spots. I mean, I got shows that I know it's propaganda. I know it's some hardcore messaging, but the show is so good. This message, the acting, the design, the graphics is also unbelievable, that you'll let your guard down and allow yourself to be sort of messaged at, and that's that's just going to keep evolving. And I see the newer the show, the more advanced techniques that they're going to employ. And so that's why, again, I think it's important to look at the modern stuff. But that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do with this channel, and just go through and talk. I mean, any episode it's going to be just jam packed with symbols and messaging and characters. It's all sort of layered on top of each other. So even, you know, a single episode of a random TV show, you could make multiple hours of analysis on. But that, you know, that would get kind of exhausting. So I think it's better to just, you know, we'll just look at some of the TV that airs this every week, because it is an avalanche of content, and just kind of go after examples that seem super obvious or super relevant. And I don't know, we'll go from there. It's just all just a random experiment. But I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to talk about it and not feel scared, because you know, as you know, the climate in Hollywood, the climate all over the country and everywhere is sort of a tamping down on speaking your mind. That if you don't want to lose your job, you better shut the hell up and just not talk politics, or, you know, hate Trump, or what, you know, whatever the sort of, wherever the wind is headed in that direction. You really got to stick to that. Otherwise, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb in this town. So um, I honestly can't talk to this to anybody, any of my close personal contacts or friends about this, because of the fear of reprisal. And I love this industry, and I want to keep working in it. And the thought of shooting myself in the foot there has sort of kept me from making these videos. But, you know, I'm too sick of it. Let's just go for it, because every night I turn on the TV, I watch TV every night, and I see stuff that is like, oh my God, I can't believe they put that in the show. And I think it's just passing a lot of people by, because you really do have to watch a lot of television to start to be sensitive to these kind of things. But I'm hoping, just by me presenting them to you, we can start to open the floodgates, and honestly, critically take a look at the imagery and the concepts that they're showing to us on a daily basis. Because I honestly don't care who you are. You're probably watching some form of scripted entertainment at some point during the week, every week. I know most people, at least in you know, in American culture, that, yeah, they're going to find a time sometime during the day. I like to watch it late at night after everybody's gone to sleep, but they're going to find some time to hook themselves up to the screen and watch some scripted content. And so this is affecting a lot of people. It's affecting a lot of people. It's affecting people right now. They're watching TV right now, and just sort of innocuously sucking it down, which is their preferred mode of digestion. Just let it go quickly by, and don't think about it too much. Just watch another episode, because if you really start to like sit down and analyze and think about some of this stuff, the illusion breaks down. So we're going to give it a shot. We're going to try to break the illusion. It's exhausting now. All right. This is TV Anon. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one.